Sorry.
Jason,
We'll get to you, Jason.
your turn's coming.
Good adrenaline response, though. That was good.
Boy, he's...
All right, I'll call this meeting to order. First matter of business, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Agenda item 3, the rules of order. The Ellsworth City Council has adopted the Roberts Rules of Order, and we will, as well as our standard code of conduct, and we will. That's how we'll operate the meeting tonight. Agenda item number 4, adoption of the Ellsworth City Council minutes from the following meeting, December 15th, 2025, regular meeting. Do I have a motion from the council?
Move to accept.
Second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Agenda item number 5, presentations of awards. First, I will start with the Community Risk Reduction Week, January 19th through the 25th, 2026. Whereas every 23 seconds, a fire department in the United States responds to a fire somewhere in the nation, and whereas national civilian fire deaths decreased from 3,670 in 2023 to 2,920 in 2024, yet the home remains the most dangerous location, accounting for 75% of all fire fatalities. And whereas civilian fire injuries saw a significant decline from 13,350 in 2023 to 8,920 in 2024, yet 75% of these injuries continue to be home-related. And whereas fire-related property damage remains a severe economic burden, the losses totaling $23.2 billion in 2023 and continuing multi-billion-dollar impacts from wildland-urban interface fires through 2024. And whereas this fire service is experiencing a critical shift in service demands, with medical calls now surpassing 90% of total call volume in some jurisdictions, up from 80% in 2023. And whereas community risk reduction is a data-informed process used to identify and prioritize the evolving local risks, followed by the strategic investment of resources to reduce their occurrence and impact. And whereas the goal of community fire reduction is to protect both community members and emergency responders through the 5 E's: education, engineering, enforcement, emergency response, and economic incentive. And whereas most fire-related incidents and a growing number of medical calls are preventable through the integrated CRR programs, and whereas Monday, January 19th, 2026, is Martin Luther King Day Jr., nationally recognized as a day of service, providing an ideal opportunity for communities to reduce local risk through outreach and education. Therefore, be it resolved that the week of January 19th, 2026 through January 25th, 2026 be designated as CRR Week in the City of Ellsworth, a grassroots initiative to raise awareness of the importance of community risk reduction and to take deliberate action in making our community safer. Witnessed by my hand and sealed this 20th day of January, Patrick Lyons, City Council Chair. Thank you. And speaking of our excellent public servants in both protecting this community, we have some recognitions of awards of service. First, I'd like to start with Riley DeWitt. The City of Ellsworth proudly presents this certificate of service to Riley DeWitt in recognition of 10 years of service to the fire department. Your devotion to duty and loyalty to the community have contributed to the improvement of the City of Ellsworth. Presented this 20th day of January 2026. Is Riley here? Additionally, the City of Ellsworth proudly presents this certificate of service to Kenneth Warden in recognition of 10 years of service in the fire department. Your devotion to duty and loyalty to the community have contributed to the improvement of the city of Ellsworth. I'm also have been told that Ken is not only celebrating 10 years here as a career firefighter, but also 40 years with the fire department. He spent his first 30 years with the department as a volunteer. Is Ken here? We also have two police officers tonight that we're going to acknowledge, but I believe the chief has something to say first. Chief, are you here? There he is.
Good evening, Troy Beers, Chief of Police. So as another year passed, we as administrative staff asked our officers to highlight when an officer or dispatcher stands out in the profession amongst the peers. Officers and dispatchers were asked to vote on who they thought went above and beyond his or her normal duties as a police officer and a dispatcher in 2025. So as a result of that, we've got everybody voted, and we're asked to submit a little sentence or paragraph about why they thought they should get it. For the police officer, I'd like to congratulate Officer Josh Stewart, and for dispatcher, Kathy Rumsey. And so just a couple of, so for Officer Stewart, some of the things that were said for him. He's a great leader, knowledgeable officer, patient, giving advice, and always willing to teach. He's also been doing great work with the FTO program, MARC training, firearms training, gives up his personal time, numerous days each month for this training. It's also nice of him to coordinate a Thanksgiving dinner to foster a family environment at the police department this fall. And for our dispatcher, Kathy, very valuable employee with skills and police experience. She does a great job dispatching and continues to be an asset for patrol. She also is willing to help other officers without issue. Extremely effective dispatcher, her experience makes her a valuable asset. She is polite with the public and is thorough with each call she takes. So, again, I'd like to congratulate both here on behalf of the administrative staff. I think they made a great choice. I know the mayor has some certificates, and we picked up just a little couple license plates for appreciation. So if you guys want to step up and
It's always the fun part. Thank you all. Agenda item number 6, the city manager's report. Our deputy city manager is sitting in the big chair today.
Yes, I am. It feels nice to be up here, but we miss Charlie. He's on a well-deserved vacation out in California, so he did pass along. Thank you all so much. It is kind of tough to follow that. He did pass along some notes that he wanted me to mention, kind of just as we transition out of 2025 and looking forward to 2026. 2025 was really the year that Ellsworth rebuilt its ability to execute. We focused less on announcements and more on foundations, because plans really are kind of worthless if we don't have the foundational structure to support them. This year, we restored the systems that allow government to function, which include the people, the financing, and the operations. So I'm going to really quickly just highlight some of the 2025 accomplishments. We stabilized our financial operations and restored a predictable budget. We delivered an inflation alignment budget while expanding services in capacity. We advanced over $20 million in state road projects and completed $1.6 million in city-funded road work. We launched data-driven road condition analysis and upgraded public works equipment. We implemented the city's first citywide performance evaluation system in merit-based pay. We standardized hiring and launched management training programs. We aligned planning, zoning, capital investments, housing, and economic development. We achieved fire ALS certification and full ambulance staffing. We completed police reaccreditation, modernized system, and embedded mental health clinicians. We modernized Parks and Recreation structure and restored major assets. And we expanded library programming and advanced the future expansion planning. So what is this going to change for 2026? City operations are no longer crisis-driven. Projects are planned, sequenced, and previewed through the council workshops before council votes. And we have implemented a tiered system to focus on our projects for 2026, which are the critical projects that are already in motion. Our water system stabilization and treatment plant planning, ordinance rewrite beginning with Chapter 56, the TIF redesign aligned with infrastructure needs. And I just would like to pause here just for a moment to highlight the TIF redesign, that this is something that's going to be coming to the council in the near future, because working with our consultants, we have learned that there are some deadlines in which we want to take advantage of to advance some of our TIF work. So just previewing that will be coming forth in the next couple months, because I believe the deadline is March 1st with an opportunity for an extension to the 31st. So that'll be coming forward. We're doing a capital improvement plan with a 1, 5, and 10-year horizons, the courthouse groundbreaking with Merrill Lane extension, fire engine number 7 replacement planning, library expansion, design finalization, streetlight ownership acquisition and LED conversion, the school track, and the downtown facade grant implementation. And then our Tier 2 projects, which are looking at 2026 to 2028, and this is kind of shaping our long-term growth and quality of life within the city. A Bayside Road reconstruction with Maine DOT. We've been working with Maine DOT about applying for a municipal partnership initiative to allow for a 50-50 match on that road for upgrades. The Union River Center for Reimagining, the city entrances and wayfinding signage, trails and Branch Lake public forest upgrades, transportation corridor planning, tourism branding, and downtown public restrooms. And then really advancing the community's character, looking at 2026 and beyond to extend out for 2030. Continue Knowlton Park upgrades, harbor and waterfront improvements, Riverwalk and downtown placemaking, strategic use or sale of surplus city-owned property, Franklin Street parklet upgrades, and long-term discussion on short-term rental regulation. So what does this mean for the council and for the public? It's fewer surprises on our projects, workshops before major policy or fiscal decisions, clear ownership and timelines on our projects and reporting, and honest discussions of risks and trade-off. As one of our counselors said last week, be boring and get stuff done. So that is now our organizational standard, and we're ready to get stuff done.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sarah. Agenda item number 7, we have committee reports. We have 2 nomination requests for appointment and reappointment. Before we get to that, are there any counselors that would like to report out on any committee work? Counselor White?
Yes, I'm reporting out on the Arbor Commission. And we are getting close to closing in on a final forest management plan for Branch Lake Public Forest to submit to council to review at some probably spring upcoming meeting. And this management plan had input that came from the Arbor Commission, the Planning Department, Parks and Rec, the Fire Department, Frenchman Bay Conservancy, Maine Forest Service, and the Ellsworth citizens. And also wanted to remind everyone that this forest management plan is actually paid through a Project Canopy grant as well. And our tree steward, Michael, returns later this month, and one of the big things on his plate this year is to inventory ash trees throughout the city that reside on streets, street right-of-ways, and city parks to gather data so we can better assess the upcoming threat of emerald ash borer, that without any if firewood doesn't spread it quicker, or the movement of trees doesn't spread it quicker, we should expect to see in the next 2 to 5 years here where we see ash decline. So we want to gather that data and, again, bring that to council to see if we want to, how we want to manage our ash trees here in the city. So that's from the Arbor Commission.
Great, thank you.
Historical Commission is meeting tomorrow. We have do have a COA to look at, and I had also talked to Charlie about him putting in a plug for recruiting membership for the commission when he goes on his radio show. And so we're going to just try to decide what we want to say, how we want to approach that, what our message should be, so.
Great, thank you. Any other reports on committee work? Okay, we have 2 matters of business regarding our committees. One is a request for the reappointment of Jerry White to the Commissioners, Ellsworth Housing Authority's request to the the Ellsworth Housing Authority Board of Commissioners appointment. The term would start this month and expire January 2031. We have a letter from Weston Brem, the Executive Director of the Ellsworth Housing Authority, discussing Mrs. White's credentials and service that was provided to the council for review. And then we also have the request to appoint David Nichols as to the commission, the Cemetery Commission. And with that, we also have background that was provided from the Cemetery Commission on David's backgrounds and interests and passion for history, among other things. So I think we'll take them up in order for appointment. So do I have a motion to approve the reappointment of Jerry White to the Commissioners Board with the term expiring January 2031?
Make a motion that we reappoint Jerry White to the Commissioners Board for the Ellsworth Housing Authority.
Thank you. Councilor Shea, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilor Halloran. Any further discussion from any councilors? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous? Excellent. And then moving on to the, do I have a motion regarding David Nichols in the Cemetery Commission? Councilor
I'd like to
Smith?
do that. I move to approve the appointment of David Nichols as a member of the Cemetery Commission with a term expiring 6/30/2026. That'll put him in the cycle with all the others.
Great. Do I have a second? Second, Councilor Shea. Any further discussion? Councilor Smith?
I would like to highlight, if you all haven't had a chance to read, it's, I think, pages 10 and 11 in our packet. Dave has attended several meetings ahead of time waiting for the appointment, and he's impressive. He notes he's an Ellsworth, lifelong Ellsworth resident, a history enthusiast, local museum curator, an interest in family genealogy, has had training in how to care for the headstones, and also of wonderful interest and value is a solid understanding of financial management. So he has already volunteered to lead up a working group on the finances within the Cemetery Commission. So we're finding with this commission, we have people who come for their love of some aspect of the cemeteries and are bringing their special expertise. And Dave's a great example of that. He's going to be a great addition to the
Excellent.
commission.
Excellent. Councilor
Does he
London?
have enough passion to serve on preservation also?
You should talk with him. You should talk with him.
I don't want you to think that
Passion,
I'm,
yes. Time, I don't know. You know what they say, if you want something done, give it to a busy person.
I just want to say that I grew up with David, and I can attest to his enthusiasm
Yeah.
for history. It was quite a thing to witness growing up, so we're really lucky to have him.
Okay. Any other ringing endorsements? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Excellent. Those are 2 great additions. Agenda item number 8, citizens' comments. Tonight, this is the part of the meeting where we ask any members of the public to approach, feel free to provide comments regarding city business. If the matter you'd like to speak to is on the agenda, we'll ask you to wait until that matter comes up and you can speak to it. So if there's anyone here from the public tonight that would like to provide citizen comments on matters not on the agenda, Please approach the dais, provide your name, and we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Thank you.
Hi, Gordon Workman, a resident of Ellsworth. I think it was a couple weeks ago, there was something mentioned in the finance meeting about an incident that happened with a vehicle being towed that was in a non-towed area, even though it was advertised it was going to be towed on Facebook. But the issue was this person was from out of town, and there was nothing on the sign or the pole other than this is where you park. I was wondering if that was taken care of, that $300 bill was taken care of for that gentleman. That's one. Secondly was,
I can answer that question if you'd
Oh.
like. The answer's no.
no?
Councilor Halloran, citizen comments, we'd ask just to allow them to provide comments, and if you
You
want
asked a
to.
question and I answered it.
Thank you. Second one is, there's an item on the agenda tonight, I won't mention it, but I tried to go back into the archives, which I did before, and the item I was looking for was in the archives, but now the archives have changed to only to 23, not all the way back to 17. I don't know why that is. And I would have to come in here and go through the books to find the minutes, and that's another issue that I think should be resolved. There's plenty, you got plenty of hard drive. You could put the archives back in there. Thirdly, it's going to be budget season. You got a lot of nonprofits coming, looking for money. If I want to support a nonprofit, I will do that. My tax money goes to the city for tax operations only, not to fund nonprofits. If I see fit to fund a nonprofit, I will donate to them. That's how I look at it. So when you're doing this budgeting season on nonprofits, you should take that into account, that they are a nonprofit and they are funded by other sources. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Hello, my name is Andrea Perry, and I live in Ellsworth on 43 3rd Street. And I, like lots of people, walk my dog around the park, onto the Shore Road, up all the streets in that neighborhood. And I just want to thank the city for putting in those really attractive bins for dog waste. I love them. I love that they're available in the wintertime. Our park is cleaner. It's cleaner along the shore path, everything. It's just, they're fantastic. I also want to thank the city for plowing the trails through the park. They're, all those paved, or they're not paved, but the little gravelled area that goes through the park, those trails, they're all plowed right now, so you can walk through that area with your dog, with your kids. And it's the whole perimeter as well as all the trails, and they're marked with little flags for when we get lots of snow like we've been getting, so you can see where they're going to be. But so just thanks to the city for making our city beautiful and accessible and great place to recreate. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none, thank you. We'll move on to counselor comments. Each counselor has the opportunity to provide comments on matters not on the agenda, likewise to citizens' comments. And we ask if you would like to provide comments, please keep them to 3 minutes or less. Are there any counselors that have any counselor comments? Counselor White?
I didn't hear you mention it, and I don't know if it actually went out live. I think it did, but Yodel is a new community calendar that just dropped that you can find all events in the community on. And as someone who has tried to plan events and often planned events at the same time, other similar events were going on, and then I lessened the amount of people interested in trees to come to my events. It's really exciting to have this new tool so we can see what's going on in our community. There's two events that, two websites that you can find these events on. There's the all events in the community that you can find on the city website. And then all the downtown events are found at the Heart of Ellsworth website. So two separate websites for two kind of different tailored calendars. And this works not by submitting any request to our communicator, Amy, our communications director, Amy, but instead it pulls from the web. It kind of scrapes the web for events that are posted on Facebook events, any organizational websites, nonprofits, businesses, and community groups. So it kind of scours the internet for these events with the zip code 04605. So I don't know if you guys have checked it out, but it's amazing. And I can't wait to help me plan better events and many other people in the community.
You know
So-
where I'm supposed to be.
and also
never
give
know
me
where I'm
something to do. So I just wanted to shout out to that because I'm really excited about it.
Does it overlap? Does the all calendar have all of Heart's stuff on it?
No,
No?
no, and it's not Heart. It's just the downtown core,
Oh,
like
okay,
what's going
all right.
on their Main Street area, and then the citywide is on the city's website. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's amazing.
Yodel?
Yodel.
Yeah, Yodel, it's on the website, and just a general shout out to Amy, because she's been implementing a lot of communication tools for our internal communications. We have a newsletter now that goes out to all the staff, this Yodel, to help coordinate events. She's been doing great, so, a lot of good work coming out of the communications department.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other councilor comments? Councilor Halloran?
Since I've been here, I have been advocating for 2 council meetings per month unsuccessfully. And a compromise to that was a workshop, and the first Monday of every month, and a council meeting on the 3rd Monday of every month. And I think that's a great compromise, but I think we need to tweak that a little bit. The table is set up, the counselors are not sitting at this table. And you have many people in the audience that, like, the city manager's back is to and talking to the group, and I'm getting many complaints that people cannot hear. And I think that we should tweak that in a form that the counselors sit here, let people come to the podium and speak, so that we're not hiding conversations. And I know that was probably never the intent, but when you have a good portion of the group with their back to the audience, it doesn't seem to work real well. And I would think a better format would be similar to this, so that everybody can see everybody and communicate clearly, instead of turning around and talking to the audience and people can't hear. That, I think, is critical going forward, is to see if we could do a better job so the community could engage and see what is being discussed.
Great, thank you, Councilor Halloran. Any other further councilor comments?
Well, see, I can hardly remember to come to workshop, but I'm just wondering if that doesn't make it a more formal atmosphere in what's supposed to be a workshop atmosphere. I mean,
Just councilor comments is not a time to discuss these issues, it's just, but if that's your that's a fair comment.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. Councilor Smith, comments?
Yeah, I wanted to echo what we heard from Andrea in the audience about the improved or broadening, I guess, of the plowing that's happening. I've noticed that it's the Jordan Homestead Preserve has not been plowed in the past, and it has been promptly this time. And there are cars in the parking lot. As soon as the roads are clear and ready, people want to get out and play in the woods, myself included. So again, the fact that they've broadened out what they're plowing beyond for vehicles and to people who want to get out and enjoy some of these spaces is a real asset for the city. So kudos for that, in addition to the areas that that Andrea had mentioned.
Thank you. And for my comment, I think along those lines, in the city manager published a great article a few days ago about kind of these, the pride of Ellsworth, he called it, and focusing on all the incredible hard work, public works through plowing, and also our public safety, fire and police and EMS. I think both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, we get hammered with snowstorms, and these folks are out as soon as the snow flies, taking care of our roads and being prepared for emergencies away from their families. And I think the road, and you can see it, the roads look excellent. And we're hearing, not just that, the details as far as sidewalks and public access to recreation. So I just wanted to kind of piggyback on Charlie's great article and just note and thank everyone in Public Works and Public Safety for all your hard work keeping us safe, especially on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So
And a holiday weekend.
and a holiday weekend. So it's not going unnoticed, and it's greatly appreciated. So with that, any other counselors? Any comments they'd like to provide?
Yeah,
Mr. Shea?
kudos. Somebody that plowed snow for the DOT. You guys did a good job, okay? There, okay, feel better now? It's terrible that, that in order to keep the roads and the streets clear, our employees sacrifice a lot, okay? So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Excellent. Okay, now we're on to agenda item number 10 in new business. Agenda item number 10, public hearing and action on the applications for renewal for the following licenses. ETC LLC doing business of Dion's, 35 Eastward Lane for renewal of city Class C victular and liquor and renewal of a state liquor license. Hancock County Auditorium Association doing business of the Grand, 165 Main Street for renewal of a Class B license. Victular, liquor, and amusement and renewal of a state other auditorium theater, Class 3 and Class 4 malt and Venus liquor license. Melvin Lambert doing business as Charlie's Pizza, 18 Hancock Street for renewal of a city Class C victular and liquor and renewal of state off-premise beer-only license. And the Colonial One LLC doing business of the Colonial Inn, 321 Main Street for renewal of city lodging license. This is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing for comments on any of these the licenses renewals I just discussed.
Just pointing out Colonial Inn is on High Street, not Main Street. I don't know if it matters what you said out loud versus what's
Oh,
printed.
321 High Street, not Main Street. Thank you.
But
I
you
know
said
that.
victular several times quite well.
I
so.
did. I've been practicing. Anyone else for public comments or snide remarks?
Catch covered.
Close the public hearing. And our favorite question, we're to the clerk. Were all the application materials sufficient? Excellent. How would the council like to proceed?
Want to check my pronunciation? I would move to approve the business license renewals for ETC LLC, doing business as Dion's, Hancock County Auditorium Association, doing business as The Grand, Melvin Lambert, doing business as Charlie's Pizza, and Colonial One LLC, doing business as the Colonial Inn.
Second.
Second? Any further discussion from the council? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you to the businesses in town.
Thank you. Okay, for new business, we have Unit Group 876 Incorporating, doing business of Acadia 876 Bar and Grill, 191 Main Street for a new city Class B license and a new state on-premise beer, wine, and spirits license. This is a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public or potentially owners of this business that would like to speak to this request?
Now it's
Don't be scared, we're not gonna bite.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Fowler, alongside here with Clive Terrell and Megan Glass. So we are part of the Acadia newly formed family, and we just want to say that we're just here to do business and in a good practice, and just try to help to uplift the community in a good standing, and just to be a good member of the community. So, thank you all.
Great, thank you very much.
a question, what's your anticipated opening date?
So we're, with the anticipation of the license, we're planning to do the 24th, Saturday.
Oh, that's
Yes.
soon.
So, yes. So we were making preparation already in that regards. So if license is granted, with the 24th, definitely.
Okay, so for those listening in, that's good information.
Great. Any other questions from
I
council?
won't ask if they have anchovies.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to speak on this application? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. How would the council like to proceed on the Acadia 876 Bar and Grill application?
Now we get a chance to try my pronunciation tonight. I move to approve the business license of Unit Group 876 Incorporated, doing business as Acadia 876 Bar and Grill.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion from council? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Next, we're going to take up for discussion Ellsworth MV LLC doing business as Marijuanaville, 71 Main Street, for a new medical marijuana dispensary license, including a city viculars license. Before we open the public hearing to that, I believe the deputy city manager has a few comments on this matter.
Yes, so staff has been working with legal counsel on this issue, and because of the need to update the performance standards, that's why we've moved forward the request to table this business license. Tim Pease is here to give us some further background and answer any questions on that recommendation.
With the city attorney, Pease, if you wouldn't mind, if you could provide us a little more legal context or otherwise on this matter.
Good evening. My name's Tim Pease. I'm the city attorney, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to give a bit of a background of my involvement, and happy to answer any questions that you may have. I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I got a call from Robert and Code Enforcement and Danielle as well to talk about this application that they had in front of them for a new business. So my understanding from that conversation was there was a new operator at the business on Main Street, and the operator was applying for a new license. And the concern that staff expressed at the time was whether there was enough understanding of what standards they should be applying when a new application is applied for in this circumstance. They explained the grandfathering aspect of this particular location. We walked through the sign standards in Chapter 56 to see what might apply there in terms of evaluating this new application. My takeaway from that conversation was the staff was fairly concerned that there really wasn't enough guidance in terms of performance standards on how to apply this to a transfer of ownership. And I can tell you that in my experience in looking at ordinances around the state, when it comes to medical or recreational, it's cities and towns pay close attention to who owns these operations, to how they're operated, the hours of operation, how they appear to the public, and so forth. And so, especially when it's different. If it's a renewal, it's the same operator, you've got a track record, you know the hours of operation, you know what it looks like. In a transfer of ownership situation, you don't. You have an applicant and they might describe how it's going to look, but unless you've got some performance standards, you really, in my view, may not have the adequate oversight that you may be looking for as a municipality. And so when I looked at the standards overall, I had some concerns that I shared with the staff about not knowing what standards to apply. And of course, if you're on the recreational side, you're looking at some performance standards, and so staff expressed a desire to maybe link those two up between medical and recreational. So you have the memo in front of you, dated today from Ebony, which kind of gives you a little bit of background. But I've been involved over the last 2 weeks working with staff to get to this place tonight, to give you some options to think about, which would include, I think, tabling this particular application, perhaps asking the staff to dig in and think about a moratorium, so you've got staff's focus over the next few weeks to give you something to look at. So those are some of the things you may want to consider, and I'll pause there and answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from council for city solicitor on this matter? And I think one question I have is, if we do table this business license, can the business that's there now continue to operate?
That's one of the questions I had asked as well. And right now, there is a license for that operation that continues until
June.
June, okay.
So they could, I think in my view, operate under that existing license. Whatever conditions were imposed on that license, they could have to live with. But they would still be able to operate during that period of time. So that's another 4 or 5 months from now.
Okay, and then in that time, we could work towards updating performance standards. Okay, that's very helpful. Seeing no questions for our legal counsel this time, I'd like to open the public hearing on this matter. This has been noticed as a public hearing. Anyone in the public that'd like to speak to this matter may approach the dais. Please provide your name and comments up to 3 minutes. Sir?
Thank you for, Council. My name is Frank Burney. I'm from Waterville, Maine. I'm the owner of marijuana villas throughout the state of Maine. I have currently 12 locations that I'm operating. This will actually be my son, but I will be running it. So how do we get to here? That's where I'm going to start. I appreciate you guys listening to me, and I understand his concerns with everything. But let me take you back how this whole thing started so you understand my frustrations when I heard this today. About 2 months ago, we reached out to the city code enforcement officer and asked him, what do we need to do if we can purchase this business in this building? And it took almost a month to get back to even hear from the city to say, yes, it was okay. Because I understand nobody knows more about the problems of cannabis in cities than I do. Like I said, I deal with everything from Portland, Lewiston, everywhere. And all these laws and these grandfather things are all convoluted, and they're all very confusing. But with that being said, so we basically put our business transaction on hold to hear back from the city, and finally the city said, yes, we can go forward with it. So once we went forward with it, again, we're delaying this a month. You're delaying somebody from selling her business who's trying to retire to go to Texas to live with her family. You're preventing us from operating it, going into and fully taking over and operating it, and finishing and closing the deal. I understand there's some concerns about how we're gonna operate it and some performance standards and all that, and that's understandable. What I do understand also is, though, we put an application weeks ago, a month ago, whenever it was. So we've been waiting months for this. And there are some things in place now. You guys have set a guidelines. I'm sure the attorney's aware of this. Even if you pass new guidelines a month from now, it will go retroactive, and I would have to abide by those standards anyway. So it's not gonna help anything by delaying it. So if there's a problem with like a sign thing, put a thing in your council that we won't get the sign until you pass the performance standards or something like that. But to delay the opening of it for something that literally whatever standards you meet, the Mills administration years ago made everything retroactive. So it wouldn't be any difference in approving us now than approving us then. So you do have standards in place, no disrespect to the city, but you're waiting till the time an applicant's coming here. You're talking about holding up a business transaction for 4 or 5 months. We're now playing with also OCP. They don't like, you know, the things in limbo. We're trying to do a smooth transition, but now the city is getting in our way of doing it because these community standards or performance things aren't in place. I understand we work with you on it. I'm not even opposed to putting limits on what we do until then. I'm just trying to get the license approved so we can finish this business transaction and we can move on with our thing. If it's not put signs in, if it's not do this, I'm fine with all that negotiating and, because honestly, I'd like to be involved in understanding some of the performance standards you guys have. I'd like to understand how we got to that point with some of them and what existing ones you have now. Just so we understand, I work with so many towns. I work with OCP very well. I have no issues. You can call up any of the places we are. We work very good with city. No city's gonna tell you, yeah, these guys, you call us up and tell us to do something, we do it. Unless it's like close my doors for no reason. I mean, I'm very, very easy to deal with. What I don't like is not trying to be mean to any cities, whatever. It's, a lot of times councils look at that, well, it is a big deal. You're keeping a lady from moving on with her life, and you're keeping this transaction because the city's having a hard time coming together with these standards. And again, just so you know, if it's approved today, the standards you apply in 4 months from now will be retro. We will have to abide by those standards. It's not like we can just say, screw you with this grandfather clause. That was removed. I had my attorney went right through this thing. He's saying there's nothing you can do about grandfather. If you guys say you can't do that, then I can't do it. Okay, there's nothing stopping that from going on. So it's not like we're gonna go in and do something and then you say, oh, they're grandfathered. We're not grandfathered. You know, not in cannabis. I think that's why that, whatever, you might know more than I do. I don't know what the thing is called, but there's a, like I said, there's a thing that they passed a few years ago so that you can't do that. Does anybody have any questions for me before I sit down?
No. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank
I have a question.
Sure. Councilor Howland?
I apologize for what you're going through. Secondly, you're buying an existing business that operates there today, am I correct?
I'm buying the building and I'm dissolving that business and obviously putting it under me. I'd never buy a business because you assume the liability with the company. So I'm not buying the ball, I am, but I'm letting her dissolve deals. I'm buying the assets of the business.
And you're doing the same style or
I'm doing,
type?
yes, I'm doing medical cannabis in
For the
Ellsworth.
record is what I'm asking, I guess.
Yeah, same thing. A retail caregiver, same as the person's in there now.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's what I was
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
trying to clear up
Yeah,
there.
same type of business. And again, we're in great standings with the state, okay? Because I can understand, I'm dealing with there's a lot of bad players in cannabis in Maine, I'm telling you that right now.
And the business that's there now was approved by the city of Ellsworth?
Yes. And can I tell you something without not rapping on the lady there, because this is the state's fault, and I get in a lot of trouble for speaking the truth. There's so many violations in there, like, the whole place is, if that was my store, and they came into one of my other ones, I'd be written up 10 times. They have coolers unlocked, candy on just things that shouldn't happen. You know what I mean? That I've already called the state and said, just so you know, this neck of the woods, you might want to get some inspectors up because you have things that aren't batch tested, all kinds of issues that are not in compliance whatsoever. And again, it's not Robin's fault. She's been inspected. I don't know how that's gone by, but there's a lot of violations that are happening against, they're not even knowing about it.
Any other councilor questions for the applicant?
I have another question.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever gone through such a process as this with all the other towns?
I've gone through I've done like 9 bars in Maine. This is my involvement in 13 of these dispensaries. Yes, I've been through some councils that are easy to deal with. I've been, to be honest, some of them that, I'm not saying Ellsworth, so please don't take this, that are just corrupt. I've seen so much corruption in Maine, it's scary. It's actually changed my whole viewpoint on it when I got involved with cannabis, and I'm learning about some of the things that have happened. But yeah, no, I mean, most towns are very easy to work with. If they're pro-business, it's very simple. You either find a way to help business grow, or you're against it for whatever reason. You know what I mean? And when you got someone like me, I'm the easiest guy to work with. If you sat me down and said, hey, you know, we don't want you to put a sign up, we don't want you to do this until we finalize these performance standards, I'm fine with that. You want to give me a probationary license, I'm fine with that too. I mean, I'm not opposed to anything. What I am opposed to is you're basically keeping somebody in limbo. When I spoke with the lady this afternoon, she's saying possibly March. Let me tell you, you just asked me an important question. I've dealt with councils, yes. You say March, that's at the end of the rainbow. It's gonna be August, it's gonna be September. And we're gonna be sitting here, you're shaking your head because you know it. It's gonna be, next year, the license is gonna be running out. I'm gonna figure out how am I gonna keep this or lose this building because I can't get my business open. Waterville, I'll give you an example. Waterville made a mistake. And the mayor, they were great. I can't speak highly enough about that town. They made a mistake and granted a safe zone for a homeless shelter, which is, you've got to jump over railroad tracks and fences, but the ordinance is 500 feet. So they were like, they pulled me aside after me and said, look, we're going to work with this and all that. It took them 5 meetings to straighten that out. I didn't fight. I didn't argue. They made it, they're like, we're going to fix this. That's all I asked for. There's an opportunity to fix this now. There's no reason to deny me a license based on something that's not even public. My attorney with you don't, it's not even listed anywhere, all your performance standards that you're doing. I guess you're working on them according to the lady this afternoon, but they're not even listed. We can't even look at them. You know what I mean? So I'm going to question. March is probably, we're going to be back here in March, and I'm going to be saying, I told you so. You know, because that's my experience. When you say, it's never earlier, right? Can we admit that? You know, if we say March, that's the earliest. And I'm just trying to move on with it. And I understand the concerns, completely legit, you know what I mean? But you do have the authority to put conditions on me, you know, as opposed to just saying, you're out. And I want to point one thing out. We have done all of our due diligence. We reached out to the city before we even made the deal, and I waited patiently. My attorney messaged the code officer. My attorney messaged it. We waited patiently to find out why this lady said, I'm going to sell it to somebody else. And then when we finally got the okay, we pulled the trigger. And then when we pulled the trigger, we're like, we can't close this, because she wanted to be out of here. She's got a niece or something that's in ICU in Texas. She wanted to be out of here on January 1st. So what I offered is, I'm actually keeping her business going until this goes through. But I can't assume it. I can't do anything. It's not legal with OCP. We follow state laws 100% to the T. So anyway, I apologize for taking up all your time. I know you guys got a lot more business. Any other questions from me? Anybody want to yell at me, insult my suit or anything?
It's a nice suit.
Thank you.
Any other public comments on this matter? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Further discussion from council? Councilor Smith?
I would be interested in hearing from the attorney a response to what we heard on what the options are. I don't know how to process all that. It's new information.
Tim Pease, City Attorney again. I think the thing that stood out the most, what the gentleman just said, is that where are the performance standards? They're not listed anywhere because there really aren't any. So I think that when you don't have performance standards for a critical business like this, I think that is a red flag for the city, that you ought to think about the performance standards. So that's where a moratorium comes into play. I think, on the other hand, there's an existing license that allows this operation to continue. So there's an opportunity for the business to continue to operate while the performance standards are being looked at. Oftentimes you don't have that. Oftentimes you have a situation where a business applies for something, a solar, wind farm, who knows, and then there's a long pause in those circumstances. But here you don't have that situation, so happy to answer any other questions, but those are my 2 thoughts.
I don't know that there's clarity there. If I could just continue with, I thought because the workshop a couple of weeks ago was on these performance standards, that made them public information, and they are not available on the website. I don't know who to look to for that, I guess,
I
Sarah.
think those performance standards were for adult use.
Right.
Not medical.
And so what is currently in place for the performance standards for medical and caregiver?
I think that's what Tim was just noting, that there aren't any.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm looking back too at the background memo that Ebony provided for us about it's an existing business, this shouldn't be a big problem. It says, due to initial confusion and misunderstanding regarding the nature of the business, the new owner was permitted to open and was issued a state license. That's for the owner that is currently there, not the gentleman tonight. And then in June, the city granted a municipal license after it identified the business did not have one. Because the state had already issued a license, the business was allowed to operate. The location was deemed to be grandfathered in use. And that the grandfathered location retains that status upon sale of the business. So it sounds like back then there was confusion, and there were either missteps or confusion between state and municipal, and the city stepped up and made sure that that business owner could continue. And now there's another transfer, and we haven't yet been able to catch up with performance standards. So if there were a probationary pass tonight, what would the performance standards be in place? Because there are concerns about I would call it the look and the feel of the place, particularly on our main street. It's a different setting, it's a different business setting than up on High Street or the other places that we're looking at. So I guess, Sarah, I don't know who to direct the question to.
Yeah, I don't know the specific licensing requirements that were put in place when this license was originally
Yeah.
issued, but it would be those same standards would be required for them to continue to operate unless we issued them a new license.
But there's currently nothing about, call it the look and the feel of the place, that they've chosen to go fairly low-key with that.
So I think that is the problem. So if you apply for license, there's a license right now. I think there's some sign restrictions and so forth in your ordinance that you could apply. So you have the history of how that operation has taken place, hours of operation, lighting, signage, and so forth. And what I think the staff is recommending, and what I would recommend, is that if there was a new person operating in the same way that the prior owner operated, then I think they would be operating within the confines of the license that's been granted. I think the issue is, if someone is applying for a new license and they want to have different hours of operation, different lighting, different signage, and so forth, without performance standards, you have an applicant who is showing up and says, this is what I want to do, and then you've got a body that's making a decision on the fly, as opposed to having standards to apply.
And I would just note, it's my understanding, and Robert and Danielle, please correct me if I'm wrong, that some of those things have already changed, such as the hour of operations and some of the signage on the windows.
Okay, that's an important point. And your phrasing on the fly, we've been so careful with making sure we wanted, the vote was, the referendum was for cannabis to come. We've been thoughtful. It's been over a year. We want to get this right. And then to find out, oh, well, by the way, there's this weird thing right here on Main Street. I don't want to get that one wrong. And I know that, signage and lighting are a big part of what we want, so that the sense that people have, Main Street is a major draw for Ellsworth, and that changes quick when if it becomes, we've seen neon signs and things like that just aren't going to fit, I think, in that setting. So that's all I had for questions.
Any other questions for the city attorney?
I just had a question. Would you comment on the argument that anything we pass later would be enforced retroactively? Could you comment on that argument?
Yeah, I don't really want to comment on that tonight. I'm not sure I'm in full agreement with the gentleman's characterization.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
That's
Any other questions for the city attorney? Councilor
Sir.
Howard?
I'm troubled that you won't comment on that tonight. You're paid to be here. Could we learn what your thoughts might be? That's what we pay you for.
So I think what the gentleman is saying is that the typical grandfathering rights that would apply to most operations wouldn't apply to a medical cannabis operation. And frankly, I don't agree with what he is saying there. I think that they would apply. The grandfathering concepts are found in statutes, they're found in common law, you name it, and it's very, very case specific. I think what I heard the gentleman suggest is that give me a temporary license, let me operate how I want to operate, and then you can always change the standards later, and I would be fully obligated to change my operation to comply with whatever standards you put in place. I don't know what standards you might put in place. So I can't tell you tonight whether grandfather would protect him or not protect him.
That's all I need.
Any other questions for the city attorney? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir, is it possible for me to comment on some of that?
The public comment period is closed, sir, so we're now in discussion, but thank you.
Why is it closed? I didn't hear you close it.
Well, he's already spoken once. I'm going to close.
I didn't
the
hear it
public
closed.
comment.
Let the man talk.
We've already,
This is not-
applicants for things on the agenda have 10 minutes. We've already far surpassed that. As chair, we also have 10 more items to address on the agenda, or,
So just so you know, and I know you can shut me down in a minute.
sir, I'd ask you to stop speaking
I'll
now.
leave in a second. No problem. Just that these, when you said about council meetings, this is what I'm talking about, we're not looking for the truth. We're looking to hide some things, and if it is grandfathered, I would be at the point of the application.
So,
Okay, it would be, the application would start, the grandfather rule would already be in effect.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to stop speaking. Thank you.
I'm done speaking, that's fine.
The public comment period is closed. We have a suggested motion to move to table the business license for Ellsworth MV LLC, doing business as Marijuanaville, until a moratorium ordinance has been adopted and expired, and allowing city staff to update medical marijuana dispensary performance standards. Do I have a motion?
I have a
regarding that?
comment.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll be the first to tell you that in November, there was a referendum that passed that seems that the city of Ellsworth residents, 55%, was in favor of recreational marijuana. I realize this is not recreational marijuana. But the city has spoken, the residents spoke in '24. And I'm not in favor of all of these marijuana places, but the people of this city voted 55% that they were in favor of that. This man is being penalized because the city of Ellsworth doesn't have their act together. He's trying to buy a business. And it's my wish that we stop this business prevention going on here in this town. The business is already here. The man wants to buy the business. It's not his fault that we don't have our act together.
Any other comments from council before we take up a motion? Councilor Smith?
simply want to say I think it's incredibly important to get this right. It sets a standard in the community, and it's worthy of the extra time, and it is fully transparent what we're trying to do here.
Thank you. Any other further councilor comments from councilors that have not provided comment? Councilor
I
White?
would love to see us provide a business license for operation. Is there any way to make this a motion that grants him conditional licensing? Or, I don't know, I just want to make sure that that he has conditional standards, or I'm not sure. I just want to
note that business can continue to operate. Even if we were to table this today, that business can continue to operate until June on this existing
His
business.
business can.
A
business.
a medical marijuana business can continue to operate there into June.
But not his, necessarily.
Not the one that sought the license here tonight, if we were to table it. Councilor Shea?
If we table this, could we bring it up at, it shouldn't be that long to figure out what we want, to put standards into place.
I can't
And-
speak for the city
No, but I mean,
staff, but I think
it-
the
it-
deputy manager might have comments on that.
You know what I mean? It
Yes, so.
to kind of go with, look, I know where it sits, and it's like, according to our recreational, but it's a caregiver. medical marijuana. So, but there are certain standards with the location that should be fitting, you see what I mean? So I'm kind of thinking if we table it till next month, is that reasonable enough?
I don't believe we would have to bring the performance standard to the council to approve, and then the license could get approved after that. I believe that's correct.
It does also have to go through planning board first.
Has to go through.
Unless council says
No.
we need to go through that step. It's because it's.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening, Danielle Gift, Director of Urban Development and Planning, or something like that. Anyway, it's a long title, and and it's been a long day. So the process for updating Chapter 56, which is our land use ordinance, has to go through the planning board first to make a recommendation to adopt that to go through council. I think council, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think council could say, no, this needs to go faster, skip the planning board process, and that would bump it up a month. But that is up to you.
We could also schedule a special planning board meeting to get this expedited faster. There's ways we could get this done quicker as long as it's right.
I
Because
think that's the goal.
I really don't want to mess up any business.
Deputy City Manager, any for?
I definitely hear the concerns. I think staff is already working on these performance standards to try to get ahead of this. Staff does not want to not be business friendly. The administration does not want to be not business friendly. The business is operating currently under this gentleman's,
By the way, it's not legal to keep operating it.
Sir, can I ask you to
Just letting you
please
know
stop
you guys
interrupting?
Promote me to do something illegal, just letting you know that.
the business operation has changed in the past couple months. That's all we've observed.
Councilor Allen?
So along Tabitha's comments, and I don't want to speak for Tabitha, but I kind of liked what I heard. Is there number one, because, and maybe this is a question for Mr. Pease, but this can't happen in 25 places in town. And is that fair to say that it can only happen in the existing businesses that exist today? It's not like other businesses could pop up without us approving this. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. So we have 3 here today, is that correct? 2?
2.
Okay, all right, 2.
For medical
All
use.
right, well, whatever. It's
Well,
someone
it
selling
is a
pot.
difference,
So,
but yes.
So along Tabitha's idea, is there an appetite to, this business exists, they're selling that product on Main Street and has for a while, correct? Is there a way, I think, and I might be wrong, and I don't want to speak for you, sir,
I'll speak if you want.
but this gentleman is talking about retroactive compliance and thinking that he had to, and our attorney says maybe he doesn't have to, but is there a way we can give this man a green light for the next 12 months with a condition that this could go away? Until the city gets their act together? I mean, since I've been here, I've been hearing about the city's ordinances about marijuana, and it hasn't happened yet. And to his point, he's probably going to have another birthday before it happens. Isn't there some way we could make an allowance for this business that obviously is operating in many different places. It's not like he can buy 5 other businesses here if there's not those businesses to buy. Can't open a new one. But it would seem to me that this is a really interesting spot, and I would think it would behoove the city to stand up and pay attention and not penalize this guy because we don't have our act together.
Counselor Smith?
A question for Deputy City Manager. Can you talk more about there was the phrase that you used about get it right and get it done fast. What would a time frame be in order to, I don't want to bypass the planning board, but you mentioned a special planning board meeting so that we can get that process moving forward. And my sense is that once the design standards are done for recreational, our intention is to also apply those to medical.
I would invite Danielle to come back up, just to talk a little bit about the planning board process. And, I mean, again, staff is wanting to get this, they would like to get this off their plate. There's been a lot of discussion, a lot of uncomfortable discussions that staff has had with the applicant. And, you know, they are looking forward to getting this done correctly as well. So Danielle, what would an expedited process look like from your perspective for the performance standards?
Yeah, so right now, Planning Board has both the performance standards for the adult use cannabis stores and for the medical cannabis dispensaries. There is an existing performance standard, sorry to correct you, but there is an existing performance standard for the medical in Chapter 56, but it hasn't been updated for a couple of years. It has outdated language in there that conformed with the state law at the time, and it needs to be revised because the state doesn't do that anymore. So there are a couple of things that I had flagged that needed to be updated in the medical performance standards anyway. We want to align them with the adult use performance standards, and so we've done that, and both are with the planning board right now for review. Their next meeting, I believe, is February 4th. They meet the first Wednesday of the month. We could do something in between, but that doesn't really buy us a lot of time, and I don't want to work too fast that I'm not getting this right. I'm hearing counsel on that. So the other option is to not put it through the planning board and put it, continue to work on it and then bring it before council when that's ready. But you skip that planning board step.
If I may, so on that schedule, we likely couldn't get it before the council in February, but we could in March.
I could do it in February, it'd be just really, really fast turnaround.
If that meeting goes well, and you'd be able to potentially turn around and have this before the council for adoption in February?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I just didn't want to limit the public feedback period on that,
Yeah.
so that's one of the trade-offs.
So just so I can clarify, the city has been working on performance standards both for adult use and medical. And we're almost there, correct?
Very close.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Danielle while she's up there?
Danielle, how long have you been on the job?
Since September 15th, so a little over 4 months.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
From my perspective, I think tabling this tonight makes the most sense because the business is able to operate through June, and we just heard that our ordinances are being revised and that this is literally the next available planning board meeting. They will take up performance standards for the potential to have this before us in February, maybe March. But again, that gives, the business can operate, a business can operate in that location through June, and it allows us to follow through in the process that we've already been working on. So my 2 cents is we table this tonight and we let the city work. I think everyone's heard loud and clear that we'd like to see this done as soon as possible, at least the majority of us. And I can't speak for all of us, obviously the vote will. but that's where my head's at on this. So with that, is there a motion? Anyone want to take up the suggested motion?
Could I speak before that happens? And I just want to go on the record in saying I would like to hear from the applicant one more time. He's been denied an opportunity to speak. And he's put in a lot of time, and I would like to hear from the applicant another time.
I don't think we need to hear from the applicant again, so I'll use, and you can blame me all you want. But I think we've exhausted this issue. We have a lot more to address moving forward. So I'd like to hear if there's a motion on the table. Councilor Smith?
Thank you. I'd move to table the business license for Ellsworth MV LLC doing business as Marijuanaville until a moratorium ordinance has been adopted and expired, allowing the city staff to update medical marijuana dispensary performance standards.
Seconded.
Second? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? I think we went 5-1-1. Pat, did you abstain?
Yeah, I'll abstain.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item number 11, council order number 012601, public hearing and action to repeal Ellsworth City Ordinance and Codes, Chapter 45, regulations for the installation of streetlights and to replace with the City of Ellsworth streetlight policy. I believe we have a presentation from our IT Systems Director.
Good evening, Council. Jason Ingalls, IT Systems Admin. As you may know, we are currently in the process of buying our streetlights from Versant. And after that process is completed, we will own and be responsible for the maintenance of those lights. Our current ordinance is not really compatible with that new ownership model. So in looking at ways to upgrade that ordinance to make it compatible, learned that most cities don't actually have a streetlight ordinance. Most cities are governing their streetlight processes using a policy. Ordinance makes it more complicated to change with the changing times and technologies with street lighting. It worked okay with the old method because it was pretty hands-off for the city. There was just a simple process for adding and removing existing lights. But moving forward, there'll be a lot more moving parts. We'll have certain, standard lights to keep on hand and replace with processes for requesting new lights and modifying existing lights, requests for dimming and shielding and things like that. So just looking to be able to have a policy for streetlight operations that allows us to be more agile, respond more quickly, and adapt to changing times. That's really the gist of it. Happy to take any questions if you have any.
I have a question. So we repeal this ordinance, and thus there's the only kind of the regulations would be through a policy that the staff would adopt. Could anyone try, is there any opportunity there in the absence of an ordinance for renegade light people?
So what we found actually going through this process is there already are renegade light people out there because we found a lot of lights that are out there that we're not currently aware of, that weren't on the inventory. So that's already happening. So hopefully with this method, it would actually help that problem by allowing us to be more hands-on with the process.
Great. I didn't know we had a renegade light people
I
problem.
just, that's,
We found some lights in surprising places.
Any other questions from council for Jason before I open the public hearing on this? Councilor Smith?
I just want to highlight and maybe get you to comment on the council oversight going forward. I think it's important that you're noting here that in repealing the ordinance, the council still does have a role with overall program governance. Can you just address that a little bit?
Yeah, so we'll be looking for the council for budgeting. You'll still have financial oversight. We envision part of the policy would have an appeals process for you know, if staff makes a decision with lighting that a citizen doesn't agree with, there would be an appeals process that the council would be a part of. So that's largely how we see the council's role going forward. The current ordinance, if you haven't read it, there's actually supposed to be a streetlight committee, which I can't remember the last time there was anyone on a streetlight committee. And they are supposed to make recommendations to the council, and then the council needs to approve all of these changes, any changes with the street lighting. So it's a pretty cumbersome process as it's laid out now. I think with the policy method will really just be more, you'll have financial oversight, you'll have kind of the part of that approval or, you know, the process to appeal decisions. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jason from council? Seeing none, this matter is open for public hearing. Anyone have comments on this matter? Feel free to approach the dais. Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. How would the council like to proceed on this matter?
I can put forward the motion. There are no numbers in this one. Okay.
There's one. But.
I move to repeal the City of Ellsworth Code of Ordinance, Chapter 48, Chapter 45, regulations for the implementation of street lights and acknowledgement that street lighting will be managed through an administrative street lighting policy managed by city staff. Okay.
Works for me.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Jason. IT was always presenting. We get through these meetings. Agenda item number 12, Council Order number 012602, discussion and potential action on the request of the Arbor Commission to reassign the role of tree warden from the city manager, Shirley Pierce, to the Director of Urban Planning and Development, Danielle Gift.
Can I take this?
You may. Council's Lorax is here to speak.
So excited for this. For a long time, I'm not sure how in the history if there was ever a qualified tree warden for the city of Ellsworth, but it has been a position that we have to appoint every year, and for many years it was just a joke position, or in the city, or joke role in the city. So I am super excited. Right now it's held by the city manager, but the Arbor Commission really wants to reconsider reassigning the role to the Director of Urban Planning and Development, Danielle Gift. Danielle is an ISA certified arborist, which is International Society of Arboriculture, and she is TRAC certified, which is Tree Risk Assessment qualified. And she is presently the most qualified person on staff to carry out any technical and risk-based responsibilities associated with the tree warden position. And given the increasing complexity of tree-related issues, public safety, risk assessment, permitting, long-term canopy management, of course, with our new tree planting initiatives, we believe it's really beneficial for the city to align this role with professional arboricultural expertise already here in Ellsworth for the first time in a long time, if ever. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. We're at.
Excellent. Any other counselors, thoughts, questions? It's not noticed for a public hearing. Danielle, would you like to speak to this, or did Tabitha say it all?
I feel like she said it all.
Okay. Great.
And she's not a renegade tree.
She's not a renegade tree.
Renegade one.
And Charlie's not here, but I would like to thank him for his service. I think that's appropriate.
I know he was really excited about telling his kids that he was Ellsworth Lorax, so I'm sorry to take that title away from him, but we appreciated him having it. while he did.
Yeah, it's just a title, no extra money.
None whatsoever. So.
Might as well grab all the titles you can.
There's a suggested motion in the memo. Would anyone in the council like to advance that?
Can I?
You see,
I'm not getting in front of you on this one.
All right, I move to approve the request of the Arbor Commission to reassign the role of tree warden to Danielle Gift.
Second.
She beat me.
any further discussion?
I would just
Counselor
say,
Smith?
as a forester, which is not an arborist, the importance of trees and having someone qualified taking care of the trees for the city is important. So Charlie did fabulous in this, one of the many roles that he held, but it seems a perfect fit with Danielle, and I'm happy to support the motion.
Likewise. Okay. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, tree warden.
It comes with a hat from
Yeah.
We should get her some
We'll get you
snack.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 13, council order number 012603, public hearing and action on amendments to City of Ellsworth Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, licenses and permits to add related licensing fees and verbiage for adult use cannabis. Deputy City Manager.
Yes, it's been a long time coming, this one, so we're happy to hopefully get this over the finish line. Danielle and Code have been working really, really hard on this ordinance, so Danielle, do you want to come up and kind of, Danielle gave a great preview at our workshop about kind of the shifts and things in our approach to this, and I think she's just going to kind of highlight that and talk about what's changed since then.
Yep, yeah, so I can skip through to the summary of proposed changes to Chapter 14 that is in the memo in the council packet. We added the associated definitions, including the inclusion in Class C that allows them to, the applicant for the license to have things that are consumable. As opposed to another form. We also set the license fee to $10,000 annually, included the license for public notice and hearing. We included specific licensing detail for the adult use cannabis store as Section 401 in Chapter 14, and then the inclusion of a lottery process. That would be Appendix B. So those are the changes that are being recommended for Chapter 14. I will also flag that in reviewing the ordinance, because I've read this 14 million times, in reviewing it today, I did notice that the version that you have did not have the updated hours of operation per the discussion at the council workshop to align it with the state. That will be fixed. And so I think that this move to approve would be under the condition that the hours of operations are brought up to the state standards.
Daniel, does this version have the language allowing the one existing cannabis dispensary to, if they'd like to voluntarily transfer?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so per council discussion at the previous workshop, that came up, and so we did incorporate that in there. The language also allows them to hold both licenses in the same establishment as long as they are following the state rules for having that, which means 2 separate entrances and egresses for each use. Yeah.
And regarding that question, and I guess also, can we talk about timeline for the, because this is just kind of one piece.
Yeah, so this is also in your memo. This is the first of a 3-step process for this revision. The first is adopting this license for adult use cannabis stores in Chapter 14. The next is the adoption of the associated performance standards following planning board review and recommendation. And then the third is the adoption of the zoning overlay that's associated with where these establishments can operate. That zoning overlay map has been on the city website for several months now, so it is no secret, it is out there, but it is primarily along the High Street corridor. In order to do a zoning change, we do have to do a mailer, a citywide mailer, and so we are waiting until March to do that because we have some other zoning changes per the comprehensive land use ordinance revisions. So we wanted to do all of that as one city mailer. That'll save the city some money too.
Great. I don't have any further questions for Danielle at this point. Any other counselors, any questions for Danielle regarding this matter? Seeing none, I believe this is noticed as a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. Members of the public may approach the dais and provide comments on this matter. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Counselors, how would you like to proceed?
I'll make a motion. I'll move to approve the request of the Urban Planning and Development Director to revise Chapter 14, License and Permits Ordinance as presented, effective 30 days after adoption for February 19th, 2026.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Counselor Shea. Any further discussion from council? Counselor Smith?
I would just like to say, this is one, I feel comfortable moving forward with a motion because of the workshop and being able to sit at the table with staff and work through the questions and recognize that recommendations that came through that discussion are reflected in the ordinance. I think it was really helpful to not be having the conversation for the first time here. So I'm comfortable moving forward because we put so much time and effort as the council in the workshop earlier and recognize the work that's gone into all of the pieces to bring this stuff forward. So this is a good process, and I'm comfortable voting in favor of this tonight.
Anything else from council? Yeah, I just want to note and thank the city staff for all the hard work on this. And especially Danielle, it's clear from your arrival here that good work has gone into this, along everyone else that you've worked with, so I thank you. And on that note, we have a motion and second. Councilor Heller?
Just like to, I understand the reasonings for it, but I'd just like to go on the record and say how disappointed I am with $10,000 to pay for an application or a license. Extremely disappointed that there's a lottery going on here. I'm not in favor of all of this marijuana stuff, but again, it was brought to the voters in this town, and they seem to want that. And I understand that you don't want to pepper Ellsworth with 26 shops and all of that, but I really am hung up about the fact that we're regulating this and creating a lottery, but we don't have lotteries for tire shops and hair shops and banks. And I think that we're treating it way too far different than the normal businesses in town. $10,000 in a lottery, come on, that's just business prevention. I just need to go on the record to say that.
Councilor Smith?
I would like to thank just past councils for all their hard work that has been put into this. Particularly as someone who is new and still learning the ropes, and in just being part of these big votes, you can see all the hard work, community feedback, council feedback, staff hours that went into this, and yeah, good to see this going ahead.
Okay, thank you. Any other councilor comments before we vote? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 14, council order number 012604, update on Maine Rural Water Association contract. I believe we have our deputy city manager to speak on that.
Yes, thank you. This is just an update for the council. We operate a or we have a state license that requires us to have a level 4 operator for treatment and distribution for our water treatment plant and our water network. Due to some staffing changes recently, including a retirement, the city did not have a licensed level 4 operator. So Mike Harris worked with Maine Rural Water to provide a contract to offer us that level 4 operator for distribution and treatment. It is a budget neutral contract. We just transferred, which is allowable through the city charter, we transferred the appropriate money from our payroll line item in the budget to professional services. It's a 3-month contract because we are currently interviewing for water superintendents. We might find one that's currently licensed as a level 4, but if not, it's going to take some time for the right applicant to receive their license. So there is an opportunity to extend. This is going to ensure compliance with all of our permitting. The operator is going to manage water main breaks, manage our system, manage the day-to-day call-ups. So yeah, it was a really great opportunity that Mike found rather than going with a private contractor. Maine Rural Water does this contracting for a lot of municipalities throughout the state. So this was, the contract has been signed, and this was just kind of an FYI for the council. I don't know, Mike, if you have anything to add.
No, not particularly, if anybody has any questions.
Great, thanks, Mike. Questions for city staff from council? Councilor White?
This contractor is going to be on site using our offices, 40-hour work week.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt, we're lucky that the most qualified candidate lives in Blue Hill. So it was a great opportunity, and they have been on site daily. They are here working along like city staff, they have a city email, they're integrated very well into our city operations.
Great.
Nice pivot.
And I just want to note, it's budget neutral.
Yes, correct, it is budget neutral.
There we go.
Mike, if you don't have any further comments, then.
No, sir.
I think this is,
Sorry to
yeah,
make you go
thank you
on.
for the update. Sorry to make you get up, Mike. I don't wanna. Thank you very much. That sounds great. Excellent. I know water's a big focus coming up here, so it's good to have people we need in the place to get it done.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 15, council order number 012605, discussion and potential action on memorial placement on city property in the creation of a moratorium. Deputy City Council or City Manager?
Yeah, so this item came up a couple months ago due to a memorial that was put up in one of our parks. It highlighted that there wasn't really a formal process, that was the decision, it seemed, in doing the research, the decision of 1 or 2 staff people in coordination with some residents. So this proposal is suggesting that we put a moratorium on erecting or dismantling any memorials, and we establish a policy which would help guide us to do both. And Charlie has put together some kind of policy shaping questions for discussion. Should the council, staff, joint committee be establishing this process? Should all memorials on city property require council approval? I don't know if we want to go through that now, if we want to have a subcommittee working on this and come forth with a proposed policy, but I think the action tonight is just to put a moratorium on any of them to be able to work through these.
So would next steps be following the vote on the moratorium, assuming it passes? I guess regardless if it passes, the next steps would be determining what process we want to go through to get this in place?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
If counselors have thoughts on that, should they just reach out to you,
Yeah.
Charlie?
Yep, they can reach out to me and we can put together a small working group on it. Maybe somebody from the rec committee or arbor commission to work through that with us.
Okay, that'd be great. Excellent. Any Councilors, any questions for Deputy City Manager on this matter? No? Okay, do I have a suggested motion, or do I have a motion from anyone in the council?
Is this open to public comment?
Yeah, go, yeah, if you'd like to speak, Gordon.
Gordon, resident of Ellsworth. This memorial was brought up in 21 at an Arbor Commission. The question was, who approved it? There's no answer. That's one of the archives I was trying to find because I was gonna research it even further. Then there was a discussion by email with the city manager and 2 other people of the departments. And the 2 other people stated that this item was political, wasn't a good idea. The city manager then turned around and said, make it happen. And asked a person to make it happen.
This is 2021, Gordon,
This
just to
is-
clarify.
This was in 21, yes. So 2 people they referred to help him make that decision said, it's a political item, shouldn't be placed in our park. He went against that. It shouldn't have been. It's political, had nothing to do with Ellsworth. Nothing to do with Ellsworth. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public speak on this matter? Seeing none. How would the council like to proceed? We have a suggested motion before us. Councilor Shea?
I make a motion that we, in all memorials that any individuals or groups would like to have on city properties, all city properties, come before the city council, and it be a moratorium on any monuments placed until a committee comprising of the Parks and Rec, Arbor, and Harbor Commission sets forth rules and regulations.
All right, so that's your motion, Pat?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Yeah.
Second?
I'll just say I'm confused because it
Yeah,
wasn't the
and-
one, I'm trying to
yeah.
catch up with what you were saying, and it sounds like it's in line with
No, it sounds
the
like a different
recommended
motion.
motion. I'm trying to catch
Yeah,
up with
I
it.
worded it a little bit different, but pretty much.
Is
You're
your
seeking the same
intent the
outcome?
same?
Same outcome. I just spelled out that the Parks and Rec Commission, Harbor Commission, and Arbor Commission. Arbor, yeah, sorry. We get a good mix of people to come forth with that, but in the meantime,
Moratorium.
moratorium, no more. Yep. Unless they come before the city council.
Well, I think with the moratorium, nothing could come before the city council until we have the policy in place.
Yeah, well, that works.
Okay. And then, so.
That keeps us from getting all kinds of distractions.
So we'll have a moratorium on, Pat, may I make a friendly, just friendly? So a moratorium, tell me if I'm not connecting with everything. We passed a moratorium on the approval, installation, or removal of any memorials in city-owned property until we adopt a policy to that effect. And then we're directing the city committees, including Arbor, Harbor, and Cemetery.
Parks and
No,
Rec.
we
Parks
didn't
and
mention
Rec.
cemetery.
Arbor, Harbor, Parks and Rec,
Yeah,
to come up with a proposed policy. And then, yeah, and I think one language I'd like to add, Pat, because it's at the end, is exceptions to this moratorium shall be limited to actions required to address immediate public safety concerns or legal obligations. Any such action shall be reported to the council in writing. Is it all right if we throw that one on the end? I think that makes sure,
Yeah.
that means we don't
I can work
screw
with that.
anything up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a friendly amendment. Do we have a second to the friendly amendment?
I would second the amendment.
Okay, so we'll vote on the amendment to approve them. Robert's Rules requires us to approve the amendment, and then we can vote on the amended.
Yeah,
All those in favor of the amended motion? All opposed? Okay, so the motion passes. So for the amendment motion, any further discussion on the amended motion from councilors? Counselor,
When this came before us before, I had broached the notion of including historic preservation. That's my objection here.
okay. Well, I don't read it as excluding them. I think we said including those, but I think we'd reach out to, we can get everyone on that. So I don't think there's anything in that motion that precludes historic
Okay.
preservation, someone from that committee also certainly. Unless anyone thinks read that, understood it to mean
that makes
otherwise.
sense.
Okay. Counselor Smith?
I would just say, Counselor Shea, I hesitated on seconding your motion because I was trying to figure out,
yeah.
I was trying to track what you were saying while looking and going, so. I support
That's
where
okay.
you're headed.
And I didn't want to include the cemeteries or anything like that, because cemeteries
Appreciate
are
that.
totally different.
And
You know
they
what I
did,
mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's guidelines in cemeteries, you know. And
Understood. Counselor Smith?
and I think just to that point, the Cemetery Commission at their last meeting discussed, they had been invited to be part of this process and said, no, thank you, that it is distinct and very different from what happens in cemeteries, so
yeah,
I appreciate that.
Any further discussion on the amended motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 16, council order number, thank you, Tim. Council order number 012605, discussion and potential action, 606, public hearing and action on the request of the Public Works Director to purchase a plow truck.
So during one of the most recent rain ice events, one of our plow drivers was doing some sanding on a hilly dirt road. And unfortunately, the plow truck was involved in an accident. It rolled over. The driver luckily was okay, but it did total our plow truck. So this is kind of an emergency situation, as we saw yesterday. We had how long did the guys work yesterday? Yeah, so to maintain the standards, which everyone is appreciative of, that the guys have been, and I'm saying guys because there's no girls on the crew currently, but they've been working really hard. We do not have a suitable backup plow equipment. Mike and Brian can talk more to that, but this is an emergency situation, so, and Mike can talk to this about their procurement process had to be amended a little bit for this situation. So we'll go over all of that, but Mike, do you want to kind of highlight where we're at?
Sure. So, as Sarah said, we had a accident. Vehicle was totaled. It was a 2015 plow truck that was totaled. We do not have, at this point in time, suitable backup for this vehicle. We started reaching out to vendors to see what was available. We contacted a local vendor, Caldwell Diesel. Caldwell said they could get us the chassis by March, but it would take 5 to 6 months for them to be able to upfit that. Alliance Trucking, where we got our last plow truck, said virtually a similar thing. It wasn't getting the chassis, really, that's the big issue. It's sending it out to Fairfield or to Viking Sieves that would upfit it for us to plow status. And the lead times on those put us somewhere around next winter. Freightliner of Maine told us that they had a ready-to-go truck that was ordered last year, and they didn't buy it. And so it was sitting in Portland at the time, now it's in Bangor, and it's fully outfitted and ready to go. to fulfill our obligation to take care of the streets this winter. And so, obviously, it's $289,500, and that's not an easy sum of money for the city to come up with outright. And so, I spoke with Nate Moore, the finance director, to see if he could reach out. They had offered us a lease from them. And so as in the past, I talked to Nate and had Nate check with the local banks to see what they would offer. And the first came up with a lower, financing offer for us. And so what you see in front of you is a motion for us to be able to purchase, that truck that's ready to go. It's now in Bangor. And we would finance it over the course of 5 years through the First Bank. The annual payment is $65,768.18. And they have offered to defer the first payment until July 1st of 2027. So they would come out of the upcoming budget cycle.
In 2026.
26, sorry.
It's okay. And Mike, just for reference, how much was the truck we purchased last year?
256. 247.
Okay, so it is slightly bit more expensive than the truck last year, but in line with inflation. And it's not.
It's a bigger truck.
Apples to apples.
Counselor Shea?
And what'd we get for insurance?
Haven't found out yet unless you have to.
No, not yet. I've been trying, but the appraiser hasn't submitted his report yet.
I can tell you the last two vehicles, two plow trucks, we've got insurance claims on are both in the 40,000, between 40 and 50,000.
And the proposal is to fund the first payment through the capital reserves, which we have sufficient funds in, and then reimburse that account with the insurance money that we do receive.
Do we need, but if first payment's not due till July 1, 2026?
The memo says, the memo is 2027, so.
That's
Yes,
a typo.
It was an error.
Okay.
But it is 2026?
Yeah, it is
That makes,
2026.
So-
that's better.
But even with that and it being in the new budget, we'd still would pay out of that fund?
Yeah, that's what we anticipate, so we wouldn't have to put the first year in this round, this budget
Okay,
round.
so this wouldn't be in the budget round? that's what you
Right,
guys
we
are
would pay
foreseeing.
out of that and then reimburse whatever we receive for insurance funding and then put it in our debt service moving forward.
Okay, great, thanks for clarifying. I have a few questions. One, how many plow trucks do we typically have operating, for this accident? 10, so we're down 10% of our fleet.
Right, today we're down 3 trucks, because we don't have a spare, and the one that was on another route right now, we've got electrical issues with it that we're trying to work out, plus we lost that one load.
Okay, so each truck is 10% of our capacity to plow, so without this truck, we're down to, 10%, and that thus longer hours and roads aren't getting plowed as quickly.
Well, guys, because you're trying to catch up the pickups from 1 tons, and we're trying to divide it up between the 3 routes. We're just trying to divide up between the 3 routes. I've been out plowing with the pickup with the guys, trying to keep up on the in-town stuff so we can send the medium-sized truck down the Bayside route and keep the 2 trucks up north. We have to keep up with that.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I'm sure it's a big strain. Second question, this is obviously, I would say, an emergency considering we're in the middle of winter. But to the deputy city manager's point, what would the normal procurement process be like in non-emergency situations? How would you guys do that?
Yeah, so typically, although lately, I know the last major equipment purchase, they sourced with Sourcewell.
Which I did contact Sourcewell and didn't receive a bit information back. So we did the more traditional way of contacting dealers that we know deal with this equipment.
So in a regular procurement process, we would have developed an RFP specking out exactly what we would want, the plow truck, and listing out the different areas that we would, cost, warranty, specs for the truck, specs for the plow equipment. All that would have gone out in an RFP, been put on the website, been put on Maine Municipal Association. Any anybody that wanted to would be able to respond with their proposals. And we would open those proposals at a set time and date with Ebony. And then, we would look at those bids and select the lowest bid, typically for recommendation to the council, for the council to approve the purchase.
And that normally takes a couple months to do that process. I think most recently, we did it with the excavator.
We've done it, yeah.
Most recently, that's if you all remember that process, so, and it does take a couple months to do that. And then it's based on the availability of the bidder.
And we just lucked out that this truck had been prepared, but not sold.
Not bought, yeah.
Not bought.
Because Brian, didn't you also research used vehicles?
I did research used vehicles. I really couldn't find anything out there that was worth buying. And I found one that was 2017, but somebody else was already in the process of buying it, but that really wasn't, had some issues with it.
Councilor Shea.
Sometimes what happens, it takes a while. Plow trucks are kind of not as intense as fire trucks. You buy a truck, you outfit it with the body, and then the rest of the stuff goes on there, okay? So it takes a while, and certain dealerships don't do that. They send them to outfitters like Howard Fairfield, Viking Civies. I think there's another one, I think that's out of New Hampshire. So it takes a while to get that whole process, and that's why the trucks are very, very expensive, because of all the extra stuff on there.
Yeah.
And they're quite heavy. And from time to time, like Howard Fairfield and Viking Civies, which are the most primary dealers in the snow removal equipment and municipal equipment, they'll have a couple of trucks outfitted, and then, like, international. And R.F. Jordan bought one right off the lot at Holton Daigle up there in Bangor, all outfitted. So
sometimes it happens, but.
sometimes there's a few trucks out there, like demo models,
Yeah.
you know? And
So
you
we're
just
kinda-
have to get lucky to
yeah,
find one.
This is pretty lucky to find it, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to, you'll get, and if you find a used plow truck,
It's been used.
Yeah, used and abused,
Yeah, I would imagine.
yeah.
Except by our guys.
Right.
No, they're all abused.
Counselor Smith?
A couple of things. I want to start, I think, just by commenting how grateful we are that the operator is okay. I read, I think, in the Ellsworth American about the cause or the background on the accident. It sounds like he did everything right. He was going backwards, sanding as he went, he dropped the plow, and still ended up on his side. So just, if I may speak for the council, appreciation that, I understand he was out for a little bit, but last I heard, he was going to be back at work.
He's back.
So first and foremost, we are appreciative that that's one of the outcomes of this. So
Yes,
I want to
Thank
state
you.
that.
it was a
Yeah.
scary scene when I walked up.
Yeah. We, yes, I think we all can understand that.
I've seen them roll over before.
Yeah. The financial end of it, just to understand, at the end of the 5 years, will we own it? I was trying to do the math of the monthly.
It's
Okay.
just a finance, it's not a lease or anything.
I thought I heard leasing, so it is a finance,
No, it's
okay.
a finance.
Yes. So we will own it.
Okay, and then how does that incorporate in with the capital investment plan? I don't know if you had gotten far enough that
We'll have
truck
to
was in
update
it.
that about our equipment for Public Works. We'll have them update that. And so the next piece of equipment will go to the top, the
It'll
next
change the
oldest.
rotation, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it'll just
but
change the
just-
rotation.
Work with that, okay. Finances are secondary, but is part of our job, but again,
Yeah, that's why, to Mike's credit, he really thought it was important to get some local financing options, not
Yeah.
just going with the dealership leasing,
Yeah.
financing options, which saved us some money.
we like that. So, thank you.
And, to the point of, it's important, as, tragically, Maine DOT had some accidents in their work zones. It's important for our public
Right.
works personnel to have safe equipment and be in safe situations at all times. So it's
I'm gonna always advocate for that for the guys because it's just really important.
And it makes me feel better about my car payment.
But what a car you would have.
Counselor White?
So you talk about this backup vehicle, and I just want some clarification on, if we have a backup vehicle, why at the start of this winter season wasn't it ready for plowing and sanding?
We had gotten behind a little bit on some of the things that had broke unexpectedly, trying to get it fixed. And that just sort of got pushed back to the back of the line a little bit, along with the other emergencies that we had to do in town.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And being a little short-staffed.
And have you found, at this point, the replacement cables in
Yes.
order to get it
They're all sitting on the floor right now, we're just trying to
find them?
squeeze it in, trying to fix it.
Okay.
I just need a couple days to.
Just
get-
so we're
get it
clear,
over.
though, that vehicle will not go on the road unless it's clearly able to pass inspection, so that is another piece of it that's gonna take time.
I was made to drive uninspectable vehicles in Boston. So I am definitely against having an uninspected
Yeah, it's
vehicle
not.
go out. So, yeah, as long as it's inspectable. But I guess making sure that we know that this isn't necessarily a backup vehicle at this point. We don't even know
No.
if it's a backup vehicle.
Because the first thing we looked at after it happened, and we knew we were gonna need the cables for it, and it's an old, what's the year?
2005.
9.
Oh, 9, oh, okay.
And so the cables are kind of a specialty thing. No, it's not a one-size-fits-all application. So we had to get those, and then while we're looking at those kind of things, then, we have to look at frame and the structure and that kind of thing and make sure it all is gonna be where it needs to be. And when those situations come up, you need to fix it before you can do anything with it. So that's what's gonna happen, so.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor O'Halloran?
Accidents happen. It's gonna happen no matter how well prepared one could be. Like most things in Ellsworth, I learned about this third hand. I didn't learn about this firsthand from the city manager. And I noticed immediately when the truck was on its side, it didn't have tire chains. And it was on a camp road, my understanding anyway. And if you had tire chains, maybe the driver would have elected not to put them on because they're a pain to put on and you have to make a judgment call. And I understand all of that, but going forward, I would think looking at some trig tire chains that are studded, not V-barred, might be a consideration for next year. I went and looked at the tires on the truck, and it didn't have new tires in November, like most plow trucks should have. New studded gripper tread tires that are recapped is common. I would think that might be something to look at next year in the fall, is outfitting your trucks with recap winter gripper treads in November. I'm not saying it's gonna change anything, you're still gonna have accidents, I mean, it's gonna happen, but the tires on that truck weren't new, that's for sure. It wasn't it didn't have winter tires put on it in November. And beyond that, you're 75 to 90 days of use for this winter. You got 75 to 90 days of use. We're here in January 20th, so by April 20th, you should be pretty close to being done for the season. So giving you the benefit of the doubt, you got 90 days to get by. I know that's no fun, but you do have a spare truck and you do have a motor grader. And a lot of towns plow with motor graders. A lot of towns hire people to plow their roads. You have many options here. And my view is pretty simple. You don't go buy a plow truck in the high season, when 90 days from now, it could be a whole different picture. If you try and get by and use the other assets that you have, maybe you gotta use more people with one truck or what have you. You got a maximum of 90 days to get by, and you have a spare truck and you have a motor grader. I don't see the motor grader out plowing. I'm not saying that that's the best tool to use, but it's an option that many people do. Many towns use motor graders. If you could get by and put this through the normal channels of an RFP, you would have time to spec the truck that you want and buy a better product for a longer term and not just a knee-jerk reaction for an immediate need. The need's gonna go away in 90 days. You got 90 days to fight this battle. My view would be go through the normal process, get by with it. You've got other tools in the toolbox to work with. And to just run out and buy the truck in high season and there's only one available, I'm not sure that's healthy for the city of Ellsworth. Even if city of Ellsworth does a fabulous job, and always has. I commend, that is a thankless job. You never know when you're working when you're a plow truck driver. Never know when you're working. But even if the product that you're putting out slips a little bit, you just went through a storm or a couple of days of storms and you got through, you might have 10 or 15 more events, I don't know, but you got 90 days. So my view would be to hold off on this purchase, spec out the truck that you want with the right stuff, go through the RFP process, and order a truck.
Councilor White?
Can you talk to what it would be like if we did not purchase this truck? How would it be for staff and our roads and the public?
You'll have less staff.
So I mean, like for example, yesterday, he just said that, you know, those guys were out there working 20 hours yesterday. And for the entirety of this event, I think we're talking like a 40-hour stretch with a small break in between. Then, you know, you can't just say use the motor grader. Like there's only one or two guys can actually use the motor grader. It's not like any plow guy can jump in the truck. And the guys that can do that would have to be out of their plow trucks. And at the moment, we wouldn't have a licensed driver that could hop in their plow truck and take that plow route over. While I completely respect the view that Steve put forth, I respectfully also disagree with that. Because I've got to look at the safety of my guys, I got to look at the amount of time they're going to spend on the road, I got to look at the wear and tear on the other smaller pieces of equipment that we're using to plow stuff that we're not supposed to be plowing with smaller equipment. And, you know, I take all of that into account. I don't just knee-jerk say, let's go spend $300,000. But you're in the middle of a winter that's been a pretty serious winter. This has not been a mild winter. And you can expect multiple snow events coming up. And, you know, I don't want to drive my crew, and I don't want Brian to have to drive his crew long hours to the point where some of them say, this isn't worth it to me anymore. It's
Or
not.
it's unsafe.
Yeah, it's just not. You know, and so I am always going to err on the side of making sure my guys are okay.
Yeah.
Can anybody I mean, you mentioned this, can anybody speak to the reality of plow trucks going on sale in the summer? I mean, they're not bathing suits, right? And it's, is there a clearance rack for plow trucks in July?
I wish I could tell you there is a clearance rack, but there isn't. The trucks that municipalities buy and the state buys, they're multi-use dump bodies. So they have sanders and stuff that go in the back of the truck. So when they're not doing that, they're using them to haul gravel, to haul excavation from leaky water mains and, and so it's not just a one-time use, one-season truck. They use them
So there is no clearance sale.
When?
No, actually, if you found a used plow truck, I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you better do your due diligence, because you could put more money into it than you paid for it.
Brian, when did you RFP the last truck we bought? Do you remember what time of year it was?
It was after the budget season, so by the time
Yeah.
it was July or August when you started putting the RFP out, then it was the following year before you got it. It was almost January before you got it the following year.
And you said that truck was around 247,
That one
And it-
was already built, so we had that one.
and it was a smaller
It
vehicle.
was a single axle truck, and we're looking for a wheeler now.
Okay.
And I've already been told that due to the tariff charges, because all the bodies and the sanders come from Canada, they're expected about a $15,000 increase on the price that you're gonna get now. So this truck that I had found that Freightliner of Maine had built
Last year.
to sell this truck, they spec out about 10 of them, is actually a little bit better truck than what we would spec out and buy ourselves. It's a wheeler, it's got an angle, one-way plow on it, it's got a wing on it, it's got a 15-yard body on it, a side spinner on the driver's side that comes out, so it's got a live chain on the bottom, flip the doors down, just like that. You can use it to haul snow with, you can haul gravel with it, you ain't gonna pull sand row. It's got a nice comfortable cab in it, a little bit bigger motor than what we'd buy, so it'd be a little bit more powerful when you're towing the excavator and stuff around. This is actually is a pretty decent deal. I don't think putting an RFP out that you're gonna get a better price, because you've only got 2 places that are gonna build plow trucks.
That's very helpful. This matter is noticed as a public hearing. I don't anticipate many public comments, but I'm going to open the public hearing. Speak now. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. How would the council like to proceed on this matter? And I will note, if we adopt the suggested motion, we need to amend 2027 to 2026.
It sounds like,
I lost it.
it sounds like we got pretty lucky in that no one was hurt and we actually found a good deal in the dead of winter, so I'm willing to read out the motion because roads need to be plowed safely. And make sure people don't get burnt out. All right, so many numbers in this, let's do this. I move to approve the purchase of a fully outfitted repair plow truck from Freightliner of Maine for $289,500 to be financed over 5 years through the First Bank of Ellsworth with an annual payment of, here we go, $65,768.18, with the first payment due July 1st, 2026, and to authorize the city manager to execute all necessary purchase and financing agreements. Okay.
Those numbers were perfect.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Motion and second. Any further discussion from council? Councilor White?
I think Steve's recommendations on the tires being changed in November and also the
Tire
chains as well. I know that budgets are due soon.
We have some.
We already,
We went through
I
the
just
trailer and found some older
encourage-
ones that get us by for right now. So those Apollo wheelers are outrigged with chains.
Great.
And we changed that particular road is a contract that we have where they request sand and then they pay for the sand.
Yeah.
We plow it. So and I don't know if you've spoken to them, but if you haven't, they're gonna find out right now. Which is, like, that is not acceptable for us now. So what I am offering to them is, when we plow your road, we will sand your road. We are not and we will decide when we sand that. We're not going to plow it in the middle of a rainstorm, because I think that contributed to this issue. And our people and our vehicles are of paramount importance. There will be tire chains used when we go down that road. And if we don't have to use one of the big trucks to do it going forward, we won't. We can use a ton truck or something like that to go down there and do that work. And so, yeah, I'm very cognizant of the consequences of the accident and the things that we could have done differently to avoid this accident, and we're putting that into motion right now.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, just, I will come to the budget with the things you need to have a smooth sailing
Yep.
2027 winter.
Absolutely.
Smooth plowing?
Yes, keep plowing.
Plow trucks need to carry their tire chains with them.
They're on the trucks now.
Good, because, I hated to put chains on, really did. But
They had a
I,
training lessons
they,
on them, so they're.
they, there was quite a few times I had to get out there, put them on in order to get up over the hill and come back down.
Steve, what, you would suggest this particular type of tire chain?
Trig, T-R-Y-G-G. They're no more expensive than the V-bar, but they're studded instead of V-bar.
All right, so we'll.
Bought a set the other day of
They-
2 to go on the front tire,
they-
the hook steering.
They last so much better.
Actually, we got a Canadian
They're-
chain bought them out of.
Well, they're a
Scandinavia.
Swedish-made product,
Yeah.
and you can buy them many places, but they are the superior, but not any real difference in money. The V-bar is old technology in my world, but the Trig, T-R-Y-G-G, studded,
8mm or 9?
9. They come 7 and 9, but far, far superior, and they last forever.
That's what we'll look at.
Yeah, I really don't want to spend that kind of money, but at least we'll be able to we'll have the truck.
That
And-
was about $1,000 cheaper than 300.
And could I just add to it that, okay, accidents happen. That same accident could have happened just by a judgment call if you had the chains. I mean, you're not gonna prevent that stuff. It's judgment calls at 20 hours in. Come on. It's no fun.
No,
No
most
fun.
definitely not. It's not good.
I think if that big rock hadn't been there at the bottom of the hill, and just flipped over, he just would have been in the ditch, but it's just a
Yeah.
unfortunate circumstance.
Like, the main thing is our employees aren't injured, unlike my 2 friends that were down on the interstate.
That's terrible. That was absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
It can be a dangerous job. It's that simple.
yeah, I've had so many close calls, so, but anyways,
Thanks, Pat. I think we have a motion and a second on the table. Seeing no further comments from council, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 17, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
A motion, to have a second? Second. A second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Adjourned.
Thank you.